sometimes. And Asbjørn has a cave.
Oh.
It's a weird start to a sentence. This is going to be the most chaotic thing ever.
I know. I'm ready.
That's good. And I know you want to start this, but I'm going to keep on talking.
It's fine. Actually, I want to throw the words to these guys right here. So, hi.
Hi.
You are...
Brackeys.
Yes.
All right.
So I want to get a
game.
I just want to get like a short introduction of you guys.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
Start maybe.
Yeah, of course. I'm Asbjørn. I've been working with Brackeys for 7 years now. It's been one heck of a ride.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun. And Thea, say hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Thea.
Yeah.
And I've been working in Brackeys part-time since August 2018, as basically main editor, and now also working with line of code with Andreas.
Yeah.
Say hi.
Transition.
The transitions. Yes, I'm Andreas, and I've also been a part of the Brackeys team since beginning of August, and I'm pretty much Asbjørn's new partner.
Yeah.
Yes. And we're...
Should I show them the ring?
Yes,
no, I'm
exactly.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
You know, work wives.
That's an old...
Uh-oh. Where's Sophia right now?
Yeah, but we call each other work wives.
Really?
Yeah, because you get... When you work that much together, you get really close. So it's kind of like being in a half a marriage, something like that.
Yeah.
Especially because Andreas strips all the time. It's like the second it gets like 1 degree too hot, he's like, I cannot handle this. And
is that a usual thing?
Yeah.
Because I was worried. Like we were setting up the cameras. I wish I recorded that because it would have gone into the video.
Oh yeah, he did it while we were setting up.
Someone needed to wear a Brackeys t-shirt, guys. Okay.
I was like, hey, that's not the kind of show that we're recording here. I don't know what kind of studio this is, but...
Right,
It's good
we have the couch.
Wow.
It's good that I work part-time, because then you have like 2 days just for yourselves.
Yeah.
And some,
I could
some
imagine.
quality time.
You just leave them alone. You're like, okay, you guys deal with this.
It can be quite intense.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for ruining my job opportunities.
Future Sam, cut this out. Thank you. Future Sam in there. Please.
Totally gonna cut this out. Absolutely not gonna cut this out. So you guys joined pretty recently, the team.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wanted to ask actually, how's it been so far? How's everything going?
Well, it's
Answer
literally been the most fun job I've ever had.
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
Like it's just fun working with your friends,
Yeah.
working in an environment where you have like the possibility to actually make a change, and you feel like your work makes a difference.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're only 3 people too. Well, only, but you know, 3
Yeah.
people. You can like really feel the difference out of this.
Yeah. I mean, I just love creating stuff and rethinking things and, being creative. And this is you can call it a job, but it's like, it's also a bit of a lifestyle when you're that, a little bit. Because you keep thinking about it. It's not just a job where you go, you get stuff done, and you come back home.
No.
It's a little more part of you, and it feels
it's becoming your baby.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it feels really good to get such positive response from our audience and really feel that people actually use it and that it means something to them. That feels very good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, YouTube can be a double-edged sword. I mean, if the response is there, if it's positive, it's true.
Yeah.
We also know that if it's negative, it can be equally as hard, right? So luckily, people have been liking what we've been doing as of late, so that's pretty nice.
That's
It
awesome.
really means a lot.
Yeah, it does.
It
It
really
does.
It does.
Yeah, comments make a big difference actually. Like usually when you comment on a video, you just think like, oh, I'm just gonna leave a positive comment. What's it gonna matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it actually matters at the end of the day.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Especially when starting out, I think. Over the years, I've been like, okay, I don't read as many comments as I used to.
Yeah.
Especially because...
Which is normal.
Yeah, it is.
It's normal.
It is, yeah. And a lot of the outside communication goes to these guys.
Yeah.
Because I'm an introvert. I like to go in and go like this and just do my thing.
But I love reading comments.
Yeah, and I also think it's fun to do.
Yeah.
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
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 It means a lot.
I mean, reading comments, because there's so many people watching and only so many people are leaving comments.
Yeah.
So don't like take them, well, I don't want to say seriously, but don't take them
Too personal.
Yeah, too personal, or don't think that if you read one thing, then that's what everyone wants.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very good, base to kind of get a good idea of what the community wants.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to take it like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think you
I
get my
understand.
point.
Yeah. You don't have to take it to heart everything.
No, exactly.
Then you won't be able to do anything. And it's also like whenever you come out with a new video idea or something that you do different, people are gonna love it or they're gonna hate it.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be some of both. No matter how bad it is, someone is going to like it.
Yeah.
You can quote me on that.
and no matter how good it is, someone is gonna dislike it.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
it's always like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a very shallow thing too, like, because you usually get like a comment saying like, "Oh, you should make this kind of video," and then the comment gets like 120 likes,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Whoa, this is blowing up!" And then you make a video, and some people don't like it, some people like it, but it's like you have to balance that kind of thing too. How do you actually balance that in Brackeys right now? Like making sure that the core audience gets the videos that they want, whereas you also try and reach to newer audiences, because I suppose that's a part of you, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I think right now we have a pretty good thing going where we draw a lot of inspiration from partly the Discord community
Right.
and partly from what we want to do and what we see does well on YouTube. So we kind of, when we look for tutorial subjects, we've really tried to find things that are suggested in the Discord community, stuff that people would like to see that is maybe a bit more advanced than what we used to do.
Exactly.
We've been doing some mesh generation. We've been doing some kind of more involved systems, and we have more of that stuff coming out, which I think is fun. And then on the other hand, we have the super funny, silly stuff, which is just like making a game, or I don't know, stuff in that capacity.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to kind of, and we are very aware that it's two different formats that satisfy different people.
Totally.
But that's how it is.
Yeah.
Especially because we started out a tutorial-only channel, and now I feel we have a lot of video formats that aren't really tutorials. That is way more entertainment-based.
Exactly.
So we wanna do a bit of both.
Yeah.
And it also makes it fun for us.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Variation is very fun.
Yeah.
To have different kind of projects.
And
Some takes a bit longer, and then some are quite quick.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we actually talked about this yesterday, Esbjørn and I, and we thought that now when we've become a fairly big channel on YouTube, we have some stability, and that actually allows us to explore new formats without being scared. Oh, is this gonna attract more people, or is this gonna scare people away? Because we have such a good ground right now that we can do that, and that's a lot of fun. So we have
it's
a little
really
more.
A privilege.
Creative freedom.
Creative freedom.
Which is very nice.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And it's really nice that you're able to see it that way. Because I know a lot of people feel constricted because suddenly all these people are suddenly watching and we're used to doing this thing.
Yeah.
Can we do new stuff? But I think really you just have to completely ignore that.
Yeah.
And just go with it. Because
And people have been really positive about doing kind of videos.
When you do stuff that you like to do, people normally tend to be more positive about it, right?
Yeah.
And the more we do it, the more comfortable you get trying new things out.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
And I think it's a part of growing on YouTube, like you said, Andreas. I mean, it's you have this foundation now, which is a ground base of fans that follow your channel, which is huge at this point.
Yeah.
Thanks. And yeah, totally. I mean, it is. Like it's the #1 Unity channel right now. It's one of the biggest game dev channels right now. It's crazy. I mean, the growth has been insane. Just accept.
Kudos,
yeah, kudos. I mean, but I think just kind of like branching out to new, video formats. I think that makes sense.
It makes it so much more fun.
Yeah. And I also realize that you guys are not just like reaching to new video formats, but also kind of like new businesses and with like line of code.
Yeah. Maybe you guys want to talk
too.
a bit about line of code actually, kind of what it is and why we started it.
Yeah.
I mean, for those who don't know, Line of Code is our new merchandise branch.
Like this.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There we go. All right. And actually, this is a bit misleading because a lot of people had been requesting Brackeys merch the past year or so, and we thought, all right, let's give them some. But we didn't only want to give them Brackeys merch. We wanted to give them full-featured, actually, game development store instead.
Right.
Game development merchandise, of course.
Yeah.
So we didn't only want to make Brackeys merch, which is also why we actually didn't, launch it in our own name.
Right.
We created the branch Line of Code
Yeah.
because we wanted to. We didn't only want Brackeys fans to be able to go get merch here. We wanted actually all game developers to be able to relate to the merch that we're providing.
Yeah.
It is a subculture with a lot of inside jokes.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Like, what do you call it? Oh.
Puns?
Inside jokes and puns.
Yeah.
Inside memes.
Yeah,
Inside
inside
memes,
memes.
All that stuff.
Totally.
And there's so much to take from that people understand to make a whole brand.
Yeah.
of it, basically.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that's fun too, and it's also, I mean, we really just thought to ourselves, do we just want to do T-shirts with the Brackeys logo? And we were like, that doesn't sound fun. I mean, and also, is that really exciting?
Done, basically, it will just be one logo and that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we just asked ourselves, what do we want to wear, right?
Right.
I mean, we're in the game dev business as well, right?
Exactly.
Maybe from a kind of an outside perspective in some ways, but still. We know the lingo, and we know what's fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully
people will get our humor.
I guess people will tell us if we know that.
We'll see.
But
We'll see.
but kind of what do we think would be fun to wear on a T-shirt?
Yeah. Totally.
So at the moment, Line of Code is not that big, but we're working on bringing new designers in.
Yeah.
Preferably game developers who makes art too.
Right.
Exactly.
And then just making it bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to evolve the merchandise shop a little bit. That's where we are now. Currently, we only have 2 designs because we wanted to kind of like see how people reacted to that, and they've been reacting very positively. So.
Brackeys T-shirt and the Game Jam one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I actually had a good laugh at that.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, I get this meme.
All right.
Nice
There we go.
And right now we are currently working with a couple of other artists and coming up with new designs that are gonna launch sometime in the near future. And we're gonna have a bit more functional working actually merchandise store. It's not gonna be huge yet, but we'll keep on adding a little bit by bit.
Yeah. Time by time, it's gonna grow.
Exactly.
Essentially.
So hopefully one day we'll have a good game development merchandise store going for us.
Yeah.
That's the vision.
Yeah. Totally.
Good.
That's the dream.
And also, I think also that stuff like Line of Code, in some ways, can do the same as what we tried to do with dev assets, which is really create a way for us to promote independent artists.
Right.
Because there are so many talented game developers out there, so many of them are artists, and I know it's really, really hard to push through and find an audience or get your stuff displayed because there's simply so many, and people have so little time. And I think stuff like Line of Code or dev assets is a nice way, kind of an excuse for us to promote them a little bit.
Exactly.
Because you can see, here's the artwork, wear it on your body. And then also check out this game that we're working on, or check out the channel.
Exactly.
Something like that. We want to be completely transparent with who makes our designs.
Yeah.
It's on the website now. Thea made the Game Jam one. She's also an artist, so that's really cool.
Oh, really? You designed it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's cool.
That's a mistake on our part that you didn't know that. I'm sorry, Thea. I'm sorry. But yeah, we try to be transparent about it.
I just threw Line of Code under the bus right away.
No, man, not
Same.
at all.
I'm
not
in
at
the
all.
video where we like launch
Yeah.
the whole web store.
Seriously, Sam, what are you doing?
Haven't done your studying, sitting here interviewing us,
Dang it. I had it written in the script, like.
On that note, I'm very, very sorry, but I have to go.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, Andreas joined us like emergency last minute.
Yes.
Because we wanted to get him in there, but he has to go.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I really do.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming here, Sam. It's always an honor.
See you, man.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Whoop. There you go.
Nice.
Have fun.
Bye. Cool. Yeah. In that case, I'm just gonna say probably goodbye.
Oh God, here we go again.
Scrubbing again.
Turn the camera on. Just showing off.
Yeah. I'm not really sure why.
Okay.
This is gonna be so weird. Now all the equipment's changed.
I know.
Yeah, Sam
I've
is
changed
now over
spot.
here.
Yeah. Hi.
We've transformed the set. The power of editing.
The power of cutting a clip.
Yeah.
So we were talking about line of code.
Yeah.
If I understand it correctly, you guys also want to have like game developers also making some art and T-shirts and merchandise specifically for their games, right?
Well, we don't know exactly what it's going to be about yet. So far, we're trying to do kind of very general stuff.
Okay.
So like fun logos, fun puns, like catchy stuff, stuff that's independent from any particular game. That is something that we'd definitely like to explore in the future, but we don't know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So there are no plans. It's you know all the plans.
We're just going to see what do we want to make and what are we inspired by.
Yeah.
And then see where that leads us, basically.
Yeah.
And there's so many inspiring people on the internet.
Yeah.
So it's not really difficult to be inspired.
Yeah.
And especially a lot of game developers that are really talented. So I feel like there's endless of possibilities where this could be going.
Yeah.
I agree.
And now we're just trying out different kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Having fun with it, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's an awesome thing, to be honest, because it's, like you guys said, I mean, there are so many game developers, so many like talented people that are actually posting a bunch of good stuff, right? But they're not getting enough exposure. They're not getting the I don't want to call it the fame, but you know what I mean, like at least the kind of exposure that they require or need to get started. So I think this is a very good way to like get them started and just like boost them from the start.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah. How about dev assets, by the way? That's also a thing you guys worked on for a long time, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Uncomfortably shifting
Before
in the
I
seat.
came to Brackeys, though.
No, yeah. It was.
It was a long... I mean, it was released for a few years ago, right?
I
remember.
I don't remember the year now that we started with it. Dev Assets was a huge project.
Yeah.
It was, and I think at the end of it, not that it's still up and you can still get the stuff, and I think we're really proud of it as it is.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, we just figured out that it was simply too much work to be able for us to sustain it, because we were so hands-on with every single pack, and we worked with a lot of people and did all the web dev ourselves. We, of course, all the marketing or whatever through the YouTube channel ourselves. So really, and at that point, it was also kind of in a transitional period, because Thea hadn't started, Andreas hadn't come in, Sophia and I were working on everything, and we were looking at changing office, and we really just had to prioritize.
Yeah.
And we were like, if it's between this and the videos, we'll choose the videos.
Totally.
So we kind of pushed it back. Might open it again in the future, but I think it was a really fun project to work on, and I think it's all right that we don't keep on releasing new packs.
Yeah.
Now we've kind of tried it, and now we want to kind of try it with the line of code instead, which is of course a completely different format. I just like to compare the two because it's a project that we work on top of the YouTube channel.
Yeah, totally.
It's something that we kind of do separately, but still through the channel, right?
And in the end, it will always be the videos that are the most important.
Oh yeah,
because that's Brackeys.
That's priority number one, I guess, right?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah,
It is.
I mean, it's cool because, you know, even now when it's not being like actively updated to like a bunch of new stuff being uploaded and stuff on the website, it's still cool to have a free library of assets that you can use anytime, right? You can go back and forth and just like download something. You can maybe even like donate to the developers because that's also a feature of it, right?
Yeah.
It's like a pay what you want thing.
Totally pay what you want, and I hope that some other people with more time would like to kind of continue that trend, because I really like pay what you want in general.
Yeah.
Of course, we are not able to do that with physical products, but I just really like that way of thinking.
Yeah.
And of course, stuff like Humble Bundle was a huge inspiration on making it.
Right.
But yeah, hopefully someone else will pick it up or do something similar to it.
Yeah, totally.
That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be. But it was also just a way for us to kind of put all the stuff that we had, because we constantly had kind of asset store developers or artists coming to us and being like, I have this thing, can I give it to your audience or show it?
Yeah.
And it's like, if every time we made a video we had a new link going somewhere new, people would go crazy.
Yeah.
So it was really just a way to kind of combine that and then try and make something out of it, and also a way to put all of our tutorial content resources thing, because we kind of built up a lot of stuff over the years doing a lot of tutorial series. And for each series, I'd made like an example game with assets to use. So it's also just putting that someplace meaningful.
Yeah.
Was also really nice to do. So it's in hindsight, it's all good. And I'm really happy that we did it.
Yeah.
But it was a crazy period of time.
It was.
Yeah.
It required a lot of work, I would assume, right? Yeah.
It did.
Well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
You were talking about Humble Bundle a little bit. I saw that you guys have now a Unity bundle
Oh, yeah.
of assets.
Yeah.
That's
Unity
really cool.
asset
Congrats
bundle.
on that, first and
thanks.
foremost.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was really fun to do also.
Yeah. How's that been so far? Like,
It's so new right now, so we don't have any statistics on it or anything. But it was just really fun because the asset store guys at Unity reached out to us and wanted to do a bundle, and I think it's fairly new for the asset store to do these bundles. I think this is the first year that they've done it.
Yeah.
But basically, they combine together a bunch of assets on the Unity Asset Store that kind of go under the same category.
Yeah.
It might be shooter assets or, I don't know, some kind of top picks.
right.
And then you can get all of them, kind of all what you need to do a specific task or add a discount.
Yeah.
Explaining what a bundle is. That's nice. I'm sorry.
Bundles 101.
Yeah. Sorry.
But man, it was difficult to choose.
It was so
Yeah.
tough to pick. Yeah, because we
imagine.
of
There's
course
so many
got to
good
pick our own assets. Yeah, and we sat down and tried to
And you
figure
were
out.
like, we need like these 15 different assets.
Yeah,
You were like,
yeah.
we can't have 15
Right.
Oh,
assets
yeah.
in a
Yeah.
bundle.
There's so many more.
Exactly, yeah.
Possible.
The first time we made a draft, it's like the total value of the bundle was like $1,200.
Oh.
It's like no one could buy this. I know, but
Hey, indie devs, let's go.
yeah, exactly right. But it's just there's so much good stuff.
Yeah.
And we've been doing the top assets videos early on as well. So I've kind of dabbled around as well.
Yeah.
So I know that there's some really good stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like we came up with some some
best
good
one.
picks.
Yeah. I think those were really fair. And also on top of that, the videos of like top assets, because you guys have a clear vision of how the asset store is and you know what's new and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like you wish to continue making those kinds of videos to kind of like put more exposure on the asset store developers in terms of like publishers?
It's a good question. I think right now we can't do that on top of all the other stuff that we have going on. If we kind of slow down on some of the other stuff, we might be able to. But it's just, you quickly figure out, especially because not so long ago we moved to one video a week instead of two. And ever since we did that, you figure out there are quite a lot fewer videos to promote stuff in.
I know.
And you don't want to have like an intro to a tutorial that is 5 minutes of just talking about cool stuff people should check out. I mean, as much as you want to do that, it's probably not a good idea because people will just get annoyed and
It will just be like a long commercial. Instead of a
and
tutorial.
that's the last thing that we want it to
Exactly.
feel like, because the asset store stuff that was genuine recommendations. That was because we've used these assets and really like them. And sometimes we also know the developers and know that they're really supportive,
right,
and there to help and working really hard on these things. So we wanted to promote them,
right.
But yeah, we don't want that to feel like an advertisement.
No, yeah. As soon as it becomes forced, just because you like want to get it out of the way, it feels like you're just burning out from that.
Exactly. Yeah.
We only want to advertise things we can we like ourselves. And use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Just like pushing it for a recommendation, be hey, I use this. This is good. I can vouch for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly,
because people can see if you're not genuine.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, they read you off.
Yeah, and we had people reach out to us who had made assets on the asset store and say, "Can we buy a spot on one of your top lists?"
Yeah,
and it's like, "Thank you," and no,
yeah,
because I mean then it would be about something else, right?
Exactly,
and then it's a sponsored video, and sponsored content is fine.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. That's what allows creators to make a living. We do sponsored content sometimes, but that has to be a clear thing. And I don't think it's good to put it on a video that is supposed to be somewhat of a review, which I think the top thing is kind of falls under, because you're essentially picking out and reviewing assets and saying that they're really good.
Yeah,
and that's just not good to be while being sponsored by them.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like,
having an entire spot for it is kind of like,
Yeah.
It might be like read wrong by some people.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So the one video per week, I know that it's been something that was kind of questioned in the comment section of some of your videos before when you first implemented it.
Oh yeah.
You sometimes you still see comments.
Oh really? Still?
There's still comments
Yeah.
about it, actually.
I mean, personally speaking, right? I don't want to like sugarcoat this or whatever, but I feel like it's been one of the best decisions so far that you made, because it allows you to focus so much more on content quality instead of quantity. And is that something you thought of when actually decreasing the number, or was it like, I'm stressed,
that
I
kind
need to like...
the reason to...
Yeah, I think it was a variety of reasons, really.
Yeah.
We did this right before Thea came on board, because back then we were moving and transitioning and all this stuff we talked about.
Yeah.
And I was working in the same office, but not on Brackeys.
Yeah.
So I like, from the distant...
Right. The camera cut out, so interview 2.0.
Yeah.
I think
I love the question mark.
It's supposed
interview?
to say interview.
Podcast?
It's 2.0. Here we go.
Alright, so
Where were we?
the camera cut off.
Yeah.
So we were talking about YouTube and just making videos on fewer videos.
Yeah.
And being over consistent.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that you talk about that, because it's really interesting to see that your statistically speaking, it's gone up ever since you made that change.
Yeah.
Even though I just assume it might have been like one of the biggest critical changes you made to the channel, because it's like so big of a difference, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to find an explanation for it. I think we were able to kind of mark the change by also changing the formats of the videos a bit. But really, that's it. I think that's the only thing we did. We changed the videos a little bit. They went up in quality a little bit, but I think we just really found it to be fun again.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of other stuff changing. I mean, that was a tiny drop, but then it went right back up. So it was really unnoticeable.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know, for sure. I wonder if we can do that again. One video a month.
I was like, 0 videos a week? What? How is that going to work?
Oh my God.
Get half a video every week.
Half a video.
You can kind of
Part 1, part 2, part 3.
piece it together, right? Yeah.
Like one intro.
Yeah, it might not be a good idea.
Oh my God. Your schedule just like increases, expands. You're like, look how busy I am.
I have to do interviews all the time. Man.
Well, that's good though, because now I think you don't feel the burnout thing as much anymore, right? Because it's a huge thing on YouTube, because people usually think like, it is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like it's like a misconception with YouTube. It's like a common misconception. People are like, oh, you're making YouTube videos, what a dream job.
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, you're making so many videos per week, what a dream job. And it's like, well, you know, especially in this niche, because we're making tutorials and all that kind of stuff, especially for you, because your channel is so much larger now, it kind of puts a much bigger responsibility on you.
It does. And I think it's really, really important that you change the way you look at things as the channel grows.
Yeah.
And especially if you're just working, or if you run, of course, if you're on your own at home, you might not feel the change as much. But we've grown from me sitting completely alone to being, a company. Well,
exactly.
Because we are multiple people and we have an office and stuff. So I think it's all right to say we're a company, right?
Yeah, that is totally fine. Okay, this is what I call a company.
Okay, good. Yeah, a tiny one, but still. And I think it's really important that you don't let yourself, and this is so easy to say and it's so much harder to do, you don't let yourself be stressed out by the fact that things are growing and going well.
Yeah.
Because that's a good thing. And remember that every time that more people watch your videos and every time you put out a new video, that's not just a gateway drug to doing even more.
Yeah.
Because that's how it starts to feel.
Exactly.
And I know it sounds completely stupid, because if you hadn't grown, you would still be in a worse situation. But you quickly change into a mode of, this is so exciting, what's going on in my life, because YouTube is exciting.
Yeah.
When people watch your stuff, that's a thrill. When you get to move into an office and work with friends, all that stuff is awesome. But it's so important that you don't let yourself become so caught up in it that it consumes your life.
Yeah.
And we often have conversations about this and are really aware about it, because it's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you don't talk about it, it becomes like a pressure. Basically.
Exactly.
So it's really important to view it the right way.
It is.
Remember to have fun, and remember that it's also a privilege.
Yeah.
And you have like so many people looking up to you, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a responsibility, but it's also a gift.
Yeah, it is. And you also have to kind of figure out why you do what you do.
Yeah.
And which parts of what you do you actually like?
Right.
Because when you're a small channel and you're not able to sustain your own income, there's really, for most people, there's one goal, right? Grow the channel.
Yeah.
And once you do that enough and you kind of grind out and you work a whole bunch and you make the videos better and more people watch, it's hard to know when to stop. Because you set yourself a goal, you reach that goal, you continue, reach a new goal, right? And it just keeps going on like that. And I think it's really, really important to, at some time or multiple times during the way, stop and say, okay, so now we have a stable job, we have a stable income. Why do we still keep chasing more views and growth and all this stuff? And maybe, I'm not saying that you should stop growing your YouTube channel, but you should at least figure out how important that is to you.
Exactly.
And what motivates you. Because I'm at a point where, and please do not stop subscribing just because I say this, but I stopped looking at the subscriber count. It's not what matters to me anymore. I feel like enough is enough.
Yeah.
And I'm way more focused on our everyday life here.
Exactly.
Because I want you guys to be happy and comfortable and not stressed out. I want the same for myself.
Yeah.
Also just for the sake of my family. and I think that's so much more important to me now than channel growth.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. Monetary value or that stuff.
If you just only like live in a box where the only thing that matters is the growth of the channel and how many subscribers you've kind of forget, like, as you said, the day-to-day life and like what is actually the fun thing, because it's more important.
Exactly. Because you start out doing YouTube because it's fun, right? You enjoy your time.
Exactly,
You're an independent channel.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, I think what you said is so valuable now that you guys are actually a company, because it started out as an independent channel, then you grew it into a couple of people, and now you have a whole company, and not only do you have to take care about the channel, but actually the people who work with you now. So I would assume it puts more pressure on you.
Yeah, I think it actually helped relieve pressure.
Really?
Yeah, because I quickly figured out that was really important to me.
Yeah.
And then I just started doing it.
Right.
And in doing so, I feel like I also kind of, I could take a lot of the tasks that I had put on myself, and we could kind of distribute them evenly, which relieved a lot of pressure. And also, I did the same thing for myself in the process, because I was like, if I'm not happy and functioning well, these guys won't be.
Exactly.
So it actually helped instead. So I think it was a good thing. But no matter if you have people working with you or if you're completely on your own, I really do encourage people to do this, because you start out thinking, I need to grow the channel because then I can make sure that I can keep doing this and I can be creative. And quickly, the growth completely takes over, and you lose sight of why you originally started.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's the dangerous part.
It is really the dangerous part.
Yeah.
Because social media is built this way.
Exactly.
And our society is built this way. That growth is marketed to be the main outcome.
Yeah.
It's the thing that everyone strives for.
Exactly.
And there is nothing at the other end.
No.
It's never
Except
ending.
stability. But that stability won't come as long as you keep focusing on growth, because then your life is chaos.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah. So.
It is a very thin ice, I think, because like you said, I mean, you know, especially the algorithm on YouTube right now, specifically just focusing on YouTube, it's built that way. You need to be consistent. You need to perform. Your videos have to rank or whatever. You know, just be on top of everything.
For sure.
And then as soon as you reach that, and your a number of videos you post every month, reach that number that you set as a goal, it just keeps coming, right?
Yeah.
It never really ends.
Yeah, it never really ends.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that. It's relieving.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So I think it's the right thing to just focus on stability.
Yeah.
And we're so lucky we have stability, and that gives us the energy to concentrate on making content we really love and really has the quality we want.
Yeah.
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 That's the focus.
Yeah. And when that's the main goal, our job is amazing.
Yeah.
Because
then
then it's fun.
Then it's literally the best job.
Friends at work. It's we're making really creative, varied stuff, and people seem to like it. So it's like there's nothing in that equation that isn't nice.
Yeah.
So
when you really look at it that way.
Exactly.
So YouTube can be like the most horrible job,
Yeah.
but it can also be a dream job.
Right.
Yeah.
It depends on the way you look at it and
Yeah.
what you focus on and what goals you set to yourself.
So nicely put. Yeah.
That's a very good. Actually, I'm gonna quote that.
Yeah.
Just the description at the top of the description box, just like that.
Quotation.
Yeah.
Nice. And then we put Gandhi.
Exactly. Abraham Lincoln. Yeah.
Right, credit goes to you.
Gandhi
Right.
Tia.
Yeah, Gandhi.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So, also, do you feel like it's? Well, let me ask it this way: what kind of content is your favorite right now, personally? And then I'm gonna ask the same question to you, because I just wonder, like, what kind of content you produce right now is your personal favorite? Do you feel like?
That's a good question. I think right now my personal favorite is the making of stuff.
Okay.
So like
devlogs.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Taking X amount of days to make a game and then talking about that experience.
Right.
Because it's a really chill way of working. Because with tutorials, we've systemized it so much that the preparation time is fairly short, and so a lot of it goes into recording.
Right.
Where here I get to sit for 4 days and not I don't need to perform or anything. I don't need to record. I can just chill out, do some programming, do some art. It doesn't need to be nice at the end.
Yeah.
It's just a silly product.
Yeah.
That
I'm just like, yeah.
yeah, it doesn't. It
Not
doesn't
to be douche.
no, but that's totally fine. I mean,
Sorry.
Really stupid games with silly jokes in them and really horrible pixel art, and then
You're doing your best.
Thank
That's
you,
the important
thank
thing.
you.
That's what
Yeah,
counts.
that is true. And then writing up the script is always really fun because you get to look back on a few days and there's plenty to write about. It's not like you have to figure out how to make this video so long or anything. The content almost makes itself, which is fun. So that's a video I really enjoy.
Right.
Yeah, and it's also fun to put together afterwards.
Cool.
Yeah, that's what I like doing right now, I think.
Okay.
How about you?
Is it irritating if I answer all kind of videos? I just
I'm like, dang it, I need the tea. Spill the tea right now.
I just like the variation, basically. It's because every video is different.
Yeah.
And some videos, there's more like creative freedom, and some there are less. And I kind of like both of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just love editing and sitting and really be nerdy around the video.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fun.
Yeah. That's a better
That's
answer.
the fun stuff.
It's a better answer because I'm going to have a different answer in a month. So it's like this one is stable.
Yeah, well, that's the interesting part because it kind of like I can connect what you guys say to like each other.
Yeah.
Just because you talked about variation and you just said like I'm gonna change my mind in like a month from now. It is kind of connected to that, isn't it? Like just having a variation of different content on the channel.
Like the making of videos are much more collaborative, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because Andreas and Asbjørn are much more on the editing team as well.
Yeah.
And when we're doing tutorials, it's almost only me, and then it's beginning to be a bit also Andreas because we're working on line of code as well.
Right.
So like, it's different experiences with different kind of videos.
Yeah. For the How I Made stuff, there's so much need for putting everything together, and sometimes the amount of footage that I give to Thea is insane because I've been programming for 4 days and recording pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
And the only thing, I mean, of course,
like it's 4 days of recording basically.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And I'm like
200 clips, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And of course, you've been getting really good at recognizing the Unity interface and the programming stuff to figure out what goes where and stuff. But still, when I talk about something that is somewhere in the last 4 days,
exactly,
it's nice to be multiple people. So we kind of all huddle together.
I need your assistance to understand what kind of clip needs to go here because I don't understand what you're saying. And in the tutorial, he's saying it at the time he's doing it. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's also easier. It must be easier for you because you're in the same physical location, right?
Oh yeah.
Like if you had outsourced an editor, I think it would be more difficult than working with like Andreas and Tia now because you would have to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like you said, you can just like cut it up, be a bunch and be like, this is gonna go here. This is gonna go here.
Yeah.
That must be cool.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah. It's really nice. Yeah, we're lucky to be able to do that.
Sometimes Asbjørn has a cave.
Oh.
It's a weird start to a sentence. Can we please rephrase this?
I'm like, can I go now? Like,
no, I don't have it.
I'm like, let's end it here.
What I know what you're trying to say. I have curtains. Do you want
I was going to say.
Okay, good.
You can say it.
Okay, I have curtains.
It came out wrong.
It did. I have curtains around my setup because they're basically sound blankets. So whenever I record a voiceover, I can.
Here's privacy.
Yeah, and also it makes the video, it makes the audio quality better.
Yeah,
You're
totally.
really throwing me on the bus here. Yeah. So sometimes.
We understand. We understand.
Yeah, but sometimes I can just throw them.
We also have meetings.
And
behind the curtains, all of this.
It's
nice. It's quite awkward when like a mailman comes in and we're all like, well.
We're all in this enclosed space in this larger room, and we all come out from this completely dark space because it's really dark in there.
He just throws in a package and leaves.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's like, enjoy.
Yeah, they get scared sometimes. Is anyone here? They all come out from this curtain.
He's like, oops, wrong address.
Yeah. So.
But they're important, and they're quite good.
Yeah, they work.
Yeah. I also saw you making some of the game design videos before. Or actually, you made one, right? Which was like a general game design overview type video?
Yeah. That was actually something that Andreas primarily worked on.
Oh, okay.
And I would call that like a completely different genre.
Yeah.
It's nothing like the making of videos.
Right. Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah.
It wasn't even connected to Unity.
Nope.
Right? It was totally like independent.
Yeah. Andreas wrote most of the script for that. I was I was on there just to kind of help piece things together as part of the process, but he really wrote most of it. And I think it turned out fairly well, but it was a tough one because we kind of looked at each other and were like, do you know anything about game design? And we both like, no. So
let's do it.
Yeah. But so many people requested it, and we also thought it would be a fun challenge.
Yeah. So we're qualified.
Yeah. There you go, guys.
Professional game designers, right?
5 minutes later, we were recording. But so that was quite a bit of research that had to be done. I think I was sick while we wrote up the script, so he did most of it, researched a lot, and then I was kind of on and off. We talked over Skype.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we want to do more of that. That might be really fun to do.
Yeah.
We have done game design videos before.
Okay.
But not. I mean, this was like basics of game design.
Yeah.
So this time we were saying, this is game design.
Yeah.
Which makes it more scary. Before we were doing, I think we did a video on what makes combat fun.
Right.
And what is good storytelling in video games. So also very kind of game design-y thoughts. Yeah. If people want to see more of those, we could do more.
Yeah.
They're fun to do.
Totally.
They are. Especially because you get to pick a lot of examples from different games that you've played and enjoyed.
Yeah.
And which also means that we need to record gameplay.
Right.
Which also means that Andreas will sit there and play Counter-Strike for an hour at the office and be like, I'm working.
What do you do for work? I play Counter-Strike.
Yeah, exactly.
Professionally.
Yeah. I guess that's true.
Fantastic. I mean, you do play for work, so...
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
It is true.
Put that on the resume. Yeah, sure.
So the reason I brought this up is because it's, like I mentioned before, it's not really connected to Unity in one way or another because it's kind of like its own, like you said, it's kind of its own niche.
Yeah.
Do you plan on making more videos that aren't connected necessarily to Unity, but just like a overall game development kind of stuff?
Right. I think we don't want the channel to be entirely tied up on Unity.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that would be nice. It's a small goal for us. And I think part of that could be game design, for sure. I also think that the making of videos, even though I use Unity as a tool, I would like those videos to be interesting for people who don't necessarily use Unity.
Right.
I mean, of course, Unity is the main software that we use.
Yeah, totally.
And I don't think that we're going to convince anyone otherwise. That being said, I think when doing formats like that, where it's not step-by-step tutorial stuff, and frankly, it's not necessarily very technical. Sometimes I explain abstract context, or sometimes I just mention that I used a particular feature. And of course, you see the editor. But still, most of it is how I approached the project, my thoughts during it, how the graphics was made, kind of more which systems did I implement, rather than Unity-specific technical stuff.
Right.
And I think that's really, really fun.
Yeah.
So in that regard, definitely yes.
Okay.
It would also be fun to do tutorials on other software.
Yeah.
Or I know you do comparisons.
Yeah, I know.
Something along those lines would also be fun to do.
Yeah. It was really fun to do, actually. Just to be honest, like it was really fun to try because I got to learn something different too. Yeah. So I would suggest, I would recommend.
Yeah, we've talked about doing like getting started with Unreal, kind of documenting my progress. Yeah. Because the amount that I've used Unreal is very, very limited. Yeah. So people would probably get a good laugh out of that. Yeah, I would crumble.
It would be entertaining, and also I think it would be also inspiring for people who are trying to like get into a different game engine, or maybe they haven't even tried any game engine yet. They're just like looking.
It will probably be very relatable.
Yeah.
For people.
I imagine people will relate to my failures.
Yeah.
Why not? Do you think, or do you like suspect that your audience would be like, hey, like, are you moving out of Unity, or what's going on here?
I think it's about making it very clear that that's not what's going to happen. I think it's really important that we state that.
Yeah.
In some capacity.
Disclosure.
Right? Because, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or at least it would require a really substantial change.
Yeah.
In kind of the indie scene if we were to use something other than Unity as our primary tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe to explore formats like that. No promises, but still would be fun.
No.
I mean, when people request stuff like this, if you want to see it, let us know, because that's how we know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're just picking from what we think would be fun.
Yeah, exactly. Just to like kind of close this off or whatever.
Yeah.
We have seen Unity moving a little bit into like the branches of like visual effects.
Yeah.
And kind of like automotive. You know, it was a part of a few Unite events, which I think you went to. Did you go to Unite?
We didn't go to Unite, no.
No, you did not.
We were at GDC, not Unite.
It was GDC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
No worries.
So we've been seeing this happening kind of, recently.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like a big focus or maybe like a plan for Unity because it's kind of like promoted at Unite and it's a part of it. Do you feel like you want to also like test that kind of environment and be like, hey, maybe we can try something with automotive or industry or...
Right. That's hard.
Yeah.
I think in terms of kind of satisfying our core audience, I think that there are only very niche sub-branches of our audience that are interested in every one of those things.
Yeah.
So in general, we try to keep it as wide as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it definitely interests me, some of it at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe some of the technologies that are more that aren't necessarily related to game dev,
right?
Stuff like machine learning, would definitely be something that would be fun to cover. We actually sat down and tried to do a machine learning tutorial.
How did that go?
But figured out that the problem with doing a machine learning tutorial is that I think it would have to be an entire series.
Yeah.
Because I also think I started with a scope that was too large, but I wanted to sit down, explain kind of the concept of machine learning and how it works.
Yeah.
How it works. All right. Good luck. but like in very non-technical terms, how to think about machine learning.
Yeah.
And then how to get started with it in Unity.
Exactly.
And I tried to do all that in one video, and it ended up being...
It's
massive.
massive.
Pretty quickly figured out that was like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
impossible, basically.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
And
or else it would be a really, really long tutorial.
Really long. So it's always about finding kind of a balance between the two. I think if enough people are suddenly interested in automotive or really, really just want to see machine learning, and that's the only thing that everyone want to see, we'll of course figure something out.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I think it's really exciting that this is happening to Unity.
Totally.
Because I think a lot of the stuff that our tutorial is about can be transferred to these industries. Because so much of it is very Unity general. Yeah. And a lot of what we do is just covering a certain Unity feature at a time.
Right.
So if you want to do simulation or getting started with VFX graph, it's probably going to work fine, even though when I made it, probably intended it to be kind of make cool stuff that is somewhat game related at the end, right?
Yeah.
But I think it can easily be applied otherwise.
Yeah,
I know. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's so many different areas where Unity is moving to. Automotive, machine learning. We see stuff VR XR, which we haven't touched at all.
Oh yeah.
There's kind of pre-visualization for movies, and also just actually making movies in terms of real-time rendering.
Exactly. Yeah, they're
Am I missing stuff? I'm definitely missing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Architecture, engineering.
Exactly. There are just so many,
all
to be
kinds
honest.
of simulation, like scientific simulation or...
I get the feeling that they're trying to like evolve into becoming more of like a generalized 3D software. Yeah. Just for like building 3D, not just specifically game development. Yes, we will continue being a game engine, but you can also use it for industry and architecture, all that kind of stuff. Which I think is cool, right?
I think it's really cool because I think they've hit a point where our hardware is just suddenly able to do this stuff in real time at a really high quality. Right. Because before, simulations or movie quality footage has been pre-rendered.
Yeah.
But now our machines can actually do this, which makes it so much more fun for creators, or not necessarily creators, also just scientists or whoever want to use this, engineers, to work with it, because they don't have to press a button and go, all right, see you in a week, and then we'll know if it works, right? Yeah. So that's really fun. And of course, that means that people will also see better results. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, especially for an engine like Unity that is so fairly easy to pick up and use, and that is also becoming even more modular with stuff like the package manager. Oh yeah. Finally.
Oh my god. Dude.
Yes.
Don't even get me started.
Right. I don't ever want to remember a world where the package manager wasn't a thing. I've spent too much time on GitHub.
Let's just pretend it's always been there.
And but with stuff like that, it's so nice to be able to open up an editor that is so fairly fully featured once you open it up, and then there's just all this stuff that you can pull down, and boom, your XR ready, or there are particles, or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Cool. So we have seen a bunch of new visual tools also being implemented into Unity. Just kind of like a quick look into game development again, like the visual, shader graph, which is a visual tool, and the visual VFX graph, right? It's called. Yeah. Now we're also seeing visual programming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be really exciting. Yeah. I think visual scripting is really going to be a game changer in a lot of ways. Right. I think one of the things that have always made Unreal really cool for artists has been all the visual tools. Right. They've had a shader graph equivalent. They've had really, really complex particle systems fairly easily. Yeah. And blueprints, which is like the largest one for me. Yeah. I think. And it's so nice to be able to see this in Unity in the editor. There's been lots of asset store plugins over the years. There's been Playmaker, more recently Bolt, which is actually really good. But now that it comes with the editor, we're able to say, all right, we actually have an equivalent for this. Don't worry.
Exactly. It's official.
Yeah. So there's, of course, that, but that's mostly more in terms of like the grander industry, or people who are more settled in game development. Right. I think it's also just a huge thing for newcomers. Yeah. Because people will suddenly be able to use one of the most used game engines in the world without programming. Exactly. And I think that's so cool. Yeah. Because at this point, for a lot of stuff, there is no need to write actual code. Exactly. There just isn't. You can do super cool stuff using Blueprint, and especially if you want to apply it to kind of other areas. In game development, a lot of people know, or most people know, there's some programming in the process. Yeah. But if movie studios want to pick up Unity, or some of these other industries, or just complete beginners, it's so nice to have that there. Then later you can replace it with code, but to have that as a start.
Exactly, just for a prototype, right?
Yeah. 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 And I also think it's going to be I hope it's going to be really efficient. Yeah. What I'm kind of hoping or theorizing about is that the visual scripting tool will be able to unlock the power. Wow, I'm talking like a commercial. I'm not going to say that.
Sponsored.
Unlock the power.
Just kidding, it's not. No, it's not. I wish it was.
I think there are so many performance benefits to get from using ECS, which, if you guys don't know, we have a video about ECS in Unity. It's
link in description.
Yeah. It's the entity component system, and it's another way of writing code. Right. Which, for a lot of people who are used to the old way, might be more difficult. Right. But I think through visual scripting, that might use ECS behind the scenes. Yeah. Which would sometimes, in theory. Again, I have no idea if this is true or not. Make visual scripting faster than writing ordinary C# code as we're doing it right now, which is crazy. Because for a long time, I think the benefits of doing code has always been performance.
Exactly.
So that's pretty scary to me. It's really that people are going to go, oh, you write code in C#? Oh, really? Mine runs 3 times as fast. I haven't written a single line. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I think it's so nice. I don't know. Some people think it's cheating using visual scripting. Oh, yeah. You're not a real programmer. Yeah. Visual scripting making stuff in visual scripting can be hard enough.
Yeah, totally.
The first time I picked up Playmaker or Bolt, I was like, oh my god.
I know. So many modules.
Yeah,
what is
it's
this?
so much tougher. But depends on how you like to work, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
And you are a main artist, right?
Yeah,
Mainly.
basically.
Yeah.
So
I am.
I don't know actually how much you used Unity before.
I don't use Unity at all, actually.
Okay.
I don't know Unity.
Yeah, okay. So let's say you were to make a short kind of like animation for Brackeys or whatever it might be. Do you feel like having to open up and learn a little bit of the basics of coding would be more difficult than learning a visual tool?
Well, I'm a really visual person.
Okay.
So I have no doubt that visual scripting would help someone like me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I find it hard to like visualize stuff in my head that is just numbers and vectors
Right.
written in programming. So or written in code. So visual scripting sounds really exciting
Yeah.
to someone like me as well.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Sure.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think one of the really, really neat things about visual scripting is that you get to visualize parts of the process. Because when you write code, it's like, it's code, you press save, you see what happens.
Yeah.
With visual scripting, you're able to see, if it's a good tool, what is running when. You
Yeah.
can kind of see the flow of the code.
Yeah.
And you can also maybe visualize values at certain points in the code
That's
or during the game. So if you have a script that has a value, at first it's 5 and then it changes to a random number and then it goes back to 10 or something,
Yeah.
you can actually see that change.
Yeah.
And, is
Kind
it
of like a
like-
flow of events, right?
It's just a question. Is it going to look like something like a visual effect graph?
It's going to look
Yeah.
very similar.
Yeah.
It's going to, I think,
Yeah.
judging by the photo they showed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it
And
looks
that is
node-based.
so much more understandable than just when you're coding stuff.
Yeah.
I'm editing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
it's another language, so obviously
sure.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I see shader graph or visual effect graph,
Yeah.
it's almost understandable to someone like me,
Yeah.
even though I
Yeah.
don't know anything about game dev.
Right.
Basically.
And that's a really powerful thing
Yeah,
because some of
it
the
is.
stuff that we've created in the videos that you've sat there and looked at is really advanced if you were to write it in code. And really complex
imagine.
because you can put really, really complex math and behavior
Yeah.
into a node that is
Yeah.
just like
I know.
the cool node, and then you plug something in and you plug it out, and
Yeah.
then boom, it looks cool.
I
It's the
know.
cool node. So that's really awesome.
And that
people-
really shows how powerful it will be with visual scripting.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I can imagine.
yeah.
Totally.
It's probably also going to remove some understanding for people if they only use that, and I'm sure that there's still going to be need for ordinary programmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to have there as well.
Yeah. Totally.
To have the choice.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing people have been asking so far, at least what I've seen from like your comments and like my comments and just from our servers, from Discord servers and stuff, just smiling. Just like, hi guys. There have been some beginners asking like, which one should I pick if I'm just now getting started? Like I haven't used Unity before.
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't
Right.
coded. What should I pick? Like
Yeah.
visual scripting, should I wait for that or should I just like start coding a little bit?
Yeah.
What is your opinion on that? Just like a personal thought.
If you've never done anything before.
Yeah. You're new to game development,
Doesn't
super
that
raw.
depends on like
Yeah.
you say I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think for me it will be visual scripting.
Right.
Yeah.
But for someone who understands numbers better,
Yeah.
that would be coding.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be true.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that might be the answer. I think it definitely depends on what do you think is cool?
Yeah.
Do you want to have an end result, or do you think the idea and act of coding is interesting? Because in
Right.
that case, jump right into it.
Yeah.
People have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
They will be able to continue doing it.
Exactly.
I think if I didn't know the person, I would always recommend starting with the easiest tool. That's kind of my philosophy is the quicker you can get something working, the quicker you get that kind of reward, that quick dopamine response.
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
That
yeah.
says, and some confidence that said, I did this,
Yeah.
and then you want to keep doing it. I think that's the main thing you don't want to do is scare people away.
Exactly.
That being said, I don't think visual scripting is for everybody. So
Yeah.
so maybe start with that. and if you feel like jumping into code, you should do it. So I don't want to be harsh and say always video scripting or anything like that. So
I just wanted to get your thoughts on this and yours, because obviously you guys are influencers too. So, being influential and telling people like, hey, maybe you could take a look at this.
Right.
Because some people do think it's like a rule to start with visual or like programming whenever they get started. And I've been trying to like battle that. So I just wanted to have your support. Be like, see, Brackeys supports me on that.
Right.
But of course, it can be difficult to choose if you don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Of course, you want to answer people who know stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, where should I start? Because there's so much to choose from. Like,
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
What do I do now?
Yeah. Do you think you're going to be using it a lot?
Visual scripting? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
To be honest, no. I mean, I may use it for like prototyping and like for if I'm doing a level design.
Right.
And I just want one single animation to play instead of having to create a script. Coding it in, forgetting this code and then Googling it. I may just open up the Visual Script, be done in like 2 minutes, whereas scripting may take, 10 minutes.
Right.
For that matter, I may use it but maybe for tutorials too, but I don't think for just like regular work.
Right.
I want to stick to programming.
Okay, yeah.
You have your routines, so...
Exactly. I mean, it's a good point, because you also touched on this. The thing you get started with first kind of just like follows up.
Yeah.
And it feels easier now to code instead of learning a brand new tool and learning the principle.
For sure.
To use it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, actually?
I think I could imagine I would use it. Hopefully, if the two combine well, I would utilize that a lot. I could imagine creating a lot of backend stuff that is like, this is the hardcore functionality, and then kind of implementing it through visual scripting. Yeah, I think that would be nice to do.
Do you have some wise words for the people?
Wise words for the people. Oh, this is so intimidating.
All the pressure is on you right now.
Yeah, no pressure. You just have all the pressure.
Eat at least one banana a day. Get your sleep. Also, your mom is probably right about a lot of things. Remember that? Okay. No, seriously, I don't have anything. I think we got all of it out. Yeah.
Perfect.
Good advice.
Yeah. I'm not about to get political right now. That's not a good idea.
I know for a fact my mom is gonna see this clip. She's gonna be like, "What did he say about this?" I'm gonna explain it, and she's gonna be like, "See, he's right. You should listen to your mom." I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Threw me under the bus.
Anyone who that happened to. Do you want to be like, all right, that's pretty much it that's all the questions.
I think we can do that. Yeah.
And then we'll shake hands and no, I'm kidding.
We'll strip.
Strip.
Calling Andreas like, hey, come back, we need you. All right, so I've never been this awkward. Wow. I don't know how to end this.
Oh, you're the best. Oh, I know you, Sam.
How do you usually end your videos?
I don't know. It's like a bunch of memes.
All right, that's pretty much. I think that's all the questions I have this time.
I was
about to do that. I stopped myself. All right.
I was just like, practice.
Just use my outro, man. No, but
you know what? You do the outro. No. How about that?
I do the outro.
Yeah.
Right,
Go for it.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. This was Sam Sykoo with Thea and Esbjørn from Brackeys. Andreas was also here. He ran off. Thanks for watching, and that's pretty much all the questions you had, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, good. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, good, guys. Do you want to put your finger there? All right.
You're like, I want to try?
Yeah.
No, we're never going to start because I will always...